Pressure point!
All right, so 20 consecutive days of footy from July 29.
Dreams do come true.
Oh, how good is that? It's going to be footy on a Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night.
Tell you what, it's much better than watching The Bachelor or Big Brother. I don't know if that's still happening at the moment.
It is.
It is?
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah.
Wow. Anything's better than those shows.
I mean, those shows are going to go down the drain with footy on every night.
People would just be loving it, wouldn't they?
Oh, it's so good. I mean, like, just watching it or having a game on Monday night during the week was great.
Oh, yeah. Especially because,
it was an average game. But
it was an average game, but at least, footy's starting again on the Thursday. We're going to go on, a couple of days without footy during the week. That's it, just Tuesday, Wednesday, and then footy's back on Thursday, so that's great.
It just means that there's less games on the weekend, but you take that for games every other night, wouldn't you?
Something to watch, at least. Yeah, definitely. Do you reckon the quality of football is going to get worse, though? Considering teams will be doing like 5-day turnarounds?
Yeah, I think there's only a handful of teams that are copying that, though.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a competition-wide thing.
Yeah, no, it's not.
So, but there'll be some teams where they're going to be playing, like young players and rotating. But I think as a whole, it should be fine.
It should be fine. I mean, I guess a lot of people could say the standard's been a bit down all season anyway, so it shouldn't make too much of a difference. I just think it's something good to all look forward to.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's going to be great. It's obviously, never happened before, and if it works well, then who knows what the AFL might do in the future. They might play, Tuesday night games, Wednesday night games. Just
to mix it up. Yeah. I think it's a good... I like the idea of it. I mean, personally, the only issue is getting fans into the games in future years.
That's true. Yeah.
Because a lot of people aren't going to want to go to a 7:45 game and then have work the next morning. So, I mean, they can see how it goes and do it from there. But, yeah, I reckon it's a good thing to test.
From a fan's perspective, it's great.
Oh, so, yeah, especially because we're sitting at home at the moment. Yeah. So, unreal.
Yeah, no, that's really good. So, that starts from July 29. So, that's rounds 10 to 12, is it? Or 9 to 11?
You've stumped me.
We probably should have looked that up.
We probably should have looked that up.
But it's around that. So, it'll finish around mid-August. Which would be good. So, I think the idea from the AFL is just to get the season done as quick as possible and try to play all these games before, or just with things being so uncertain, just try to get all these games done. So it'd be really good. Looking forward to it. But one thing that did come out of the hubs from last week was Gary Ablett returning back home to Melbourne to be with his family.
That's massive news, isn't it?
Yeah, huge. I mean, there's absolutely no issues with Gary Ablett doing that with what's going on in his family at the moment. I think the footy world completely accepts that and agrees with it. Oh,
100%. I think he'd be, if he had stayed, I feel like he'd be getting, questioned for staying. I mean, family is always the number one priority, and Gary's just done what he has to do to be with his son and his wife at the moment. So.
Correct. It's just a shame because you never know. I think most likely this would be Ablett's last season.
You'd think so.
Has he played his last game?
Well, it could be a bit like the different situations. Obviously, but it could be a bit like Vince Carter in the NBA. He would have finished out this season, but then the COVID all hit and they stopped playing, and he never got a farewell game. He just that was it, just abruptly stopped. So I mean, hopefully that's not the case with Gary. I'd love to see him back out on the field to finish off.
He deserves a proper send off, doesn't he?
Well, as we've said the last couple of weeks, he's arguably the best player of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you're not a Geelong supporter, you want to see him get sent off probably, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's known across the whole AFL world that Gary Ablett is one, if not the greatest, but definitely regarded as one of the greatest to ever play. And he deserves a proper send off. He played his 350th the other week and in front of no one. So if he can get a proper send off in front of a full crowd, that'd be great. So let's hope we haven't seen the last of Gary Ablett because it would be a real shame. But we'll get into what happened over the weekend. A lot of a big topic that happened was the umpiring, especially from Monday night's game.
Oh,
I know you've got a lot to say about this.
I just can't keep up with the umpiring at the moment. The decisions are so all over the place. I mean, the biggest one is the holding the ball rule that's confused everybody. I think 1 minute, as soon as you grab the ball and get tackled, you get done holding the ball, and then next minute they'll let you get spun around 3 times, drop it, and they'll be like, "Nah, play on." They just need some sort of consistency, and I mean, I think even Steve Hocking came out and said that they made a mistake.
Yep.
And admitted it, and Ray Chamberlain came out and he tried to review a couple of them. He backed them in as a whole though. But I mean, obviously mistakes are always going to be made. But this is every game now that you're seeing some massive we see some massive differences in the free kick counts during games, and there's no consistency.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think it's just the holding the ball one as well. I think there's been, well, especially on the Monday night game, there were some marks that did not get paid. Like that Tex Walker one, for example, where he clearly had all of the ball. And they called it touch, and then there was a few deliberate out of bounds as well. I feel like it's good that they're harsher on deliberate out of bounds, but sometimes they're just way too harsh.
Well, here's one, the Dan Butler one on
That's
Monday
what I'm
night.
thinking of.
Yeah, he was surging forward, bombed it into the forward 50, and it bounces out of bounds. Why would you kick it in your forward 50 hoping it goes out of bounds when there's someone, potentially running onto it?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I think you got to know your time and place for a deliberate out of bounds. If he was in the back 50, maybe different. But you wouldn't deliberately kick it out of bounds running into your forward 50. So, yeah, some of them are very silly, and I think some of the 50 metres that have been given away as well. I thought the rule was if someone came into protected space, it's 50 metres automatically. I've seen players run, within 2 metres of the guy with the ball, and they don't pay anything. And then other times, you run around him to get on the mark, and they go, "Nah, you came from behind 50 metres."
Yeah.
I want to know what's going on.
It's just too inconsistent, way too inconsistent, and especially for a rule like that where the penalty is so harsh. Like a 50-metre penalty on most occasions can cause a goal-scoring opportunity.
Oh, 100%. So, you could be on the back 50 and all of a sudden you're having a set shot in the forward 50. Yeah.
So, there needs to be a lot more consistency around that. And I think after this season and going into next season, they need to almost just throw out the rule, or not throw out the rules, but like
the protected space.
Just look at everything, start from scratch and just bring it back to what it used to be. Because it's just
100%.
It's this interpretation from the umpires and the rules. It just doesn't seem to be matching up.
What are your thoughts on if they leave the protected space rule as is, except instead of 50 metres, they do what they used to do and have 15-metre penalties for that? Because I feel like
15 is probably maybe a little bit too low.
Or
maybe go like
20,
halfway.
Yeah, 25 maybe,
Yeah.
but more so in the sense that if someone takes a mark and you come in and bowl him over, that's 50 because you've blatantly just come out of nowhere and hit the guy. But if you're just running past and you happen to get within 5 metres of the guy, it's a different. The 50 metre I feel is a bit harsh for that kind of consequence, especially when 9 times out of 10 the player is just running straight past the guy with the ball, no intentions of interrupting.
Exactly
his
right.
kick.
Yeah, they're not impeding anything. They're just running past. Yeah,
and I think they're good. Yeah, I feel like maybe they should reduce the the penalty for that.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, they need to have a look at it. Like obviously, don't need to say it, but there is a lot going on this season, and I think once the dust settles and this season's over, I reckon they need to have a good look at all the rules and just fine tune them all because it's been a bit of a shit show this season with that,
to say the least.
Yeah. So, but enough umpire bashing for now. The All Australian debutant topic that we spoke about last week and what we put on our socials got a fair bit of feedback on that.
Yeah, we got a lot of responses to that one. People thought who was going to be an All-Australian debut this year. We had some ones that, people obviously take them pretty seriously. And then I think someone suggested Steven Seagal, the 1980s martial arts movie star. I'd love to see him get an Australian debut, but something tells me he won't.
Well,
so.
It mixes in well with the name of the podcast, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Steven Seagal. So, no, I think we got a really good response out of that. And there were some definitely good names chucked in there. I mean, you had Robbie Tarrant, I know was one of them suggested. Charlie Dixon, Mark Pittonet, Jacob Wiedering, Jack Martin. There was a ton of people that were suggested, so I thought it was really good.
Yeah, it was really good. Really good. And I think you were saying before, like, you were surprised that Charlie Dixon hasn't been selected yet.
No. Well, when it was suggested, I remember I had to go and just double check that he hadn't made a team before we posted it and embarrassed ourselves. But I just thought he would have had one by now, but he hasn't. And I mean, the way he's going, he looks like he'll have one at the end of the year.
I think he'll definitely be in this season.
I mean, who else? No one else is dominating like he is as a full forward.
As a power forward, he's been the best this season.
By far. So I think that'll be good to see him get one. But definitely a lot of good names thrown out there, and it was just good to get some feedback and some interaction with the audience. For sure. Yeah, and in the coming weeks we'll make our own pressure point rolling All Australian team. For the second half of the season as it starts to take shape now. So we appreciate all the responses for that, and we'll see if they all get up this season. So we'll move on to a sad topic. Well, sad thing that happened during the week was the passing of Shane Tuck. That came through. Was it Monday? Yeah, Monday. So very sad, very sad. Obviously, former Richmond player.
had a very good career, didn't he, at AFL level? Obviously, his dad, played 5,000 games for Hawthorn, didn't he? So, very sad times. It was a very sad, very flattening day Monday when that news came through.
Oh, extremely, extremely. I mean, for me personally as well, Shane Tuck was... Oh, he's just a name that whenever... I mean, obviously it's different now, but whenever he was brought up after he retired, it was always a name that sort of just took you back to... Or made me think of a time, when... I know it was just a different Richmond era, and it just sort of, was nostalgic in a sense, and Shane Tuck was, when me and my cousin used to call him the warhorse. He was just always running, always found the footy. He was just a hard nut. Just a great footballer. And from everything I've heard, he was a great clubman as well. And it's obviously extremely sad to see a passing like that. Especially he's only 38 years old, far too young. And unfortunately, he's left behind a wife and 2 kids, which is never good to see. But yeah, I don't know. I'm actually feeling this one. I don't normally feel this way about people I don't actually know personally, but yeah.
I think it's just when it comes back to mental health and all that sort of stuff, it really upsets it more. It makes it a lot worse because it's these things can be avoided. It's just it's getting ridiculous now, the amount of good people we're losing to suicide and the things that's got to do with men's health as well. It's terrible. Oh,
it is just shocking. It really is. And I think this just shows how, Michael Tuck had a statement out about Shane, and he said, he was the type of guy that he definitely had some battles, internally, but he was just one of those classic, tough guy. He didn't you don't want to express your feelings. And I really think as a culture in general, we've really got to turn that around, because it is okay to talk to people about this sort of thing, and you shouldn't have to let it eat you inside mentally, and hit breaking point as
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We need to remove the stigma around men's health and men speaking out about these sort of stuff. Like it's not tough to hide your emotions. It's you're tough by showing your emotions, and we're losing far too many men to this, and if anyone is going through any hardships, any tough times, we're both here to listen, and there's professionals out there that can help you. So it's that's the tough thing to do, and it's certainly not hiding it. So it's sad that we have to talk about things like this, but
extremely sad. But as Marcus said, there's you always go to a family member or someone close if you can, but we're both here if anyone ever wanted to chat. And as he said as well, there's professionals, there's things that can be done. You don't have to keep it all into yourself anymore. So definitely try and express your feelings, and tell people how you're feeling, and get as much help as you can.
Exactly, well said. All right, we'll get stuck into the footy. We'll review round 7. We'll go back all the way to Thursday night. Geelong and Collingwood. Jeez, it was a while ago.
Feels like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. This was for me, it was a pretty one-sided contest, even though the scoreboard wasn't a smashing, but it felt pretty one-sided to me.
It did feel pretty one-sided as well. We tipped this to be one of the games of the round. Obviously probably the biggest thing to come out of it is how good Jordan Ngoe is.
He's a superstar.
I think I've just never liked him. I don't know. I think just because he's a Collingwood player, really. But he is an absolute star. He kicked 5 and he had an injured hand, which could mean he's likely to miss a month now.
He is.
Well, he is?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Well, I think it's longer than a month too.
Yeah, so he played out the game with it, so that's really impressive in itself, and to still kick 5 goals, absolute superstar.
Yeah, and the Pies look very good. They're slowly getting all their players back, and they're looking like a force again this season. I think for me, they're the premiership favourite, just because they can play anywhere. They travel well.
They do travel well. And like you said, they're getting players back. Sidebottom, I think, is due back next week. Treloar obviously came back a couple of weeks ago, and he's already in another, what had he mentioned, another 33 touches or something, I think he had.
All his games back, he's gotten over 30 touches.
Yeah, so he's just a superstar as well. Yeah. And their backline, they kept the Cats at the lowest score since 2001.
Yeah.
But in saying that, there's been a lot of that happening recently in footy this year. There's been a few teams that have kicked their lowest score for the first time in a long time.
It's a little bit hard to read into that just with the shortened games.
Yeah, definitely.
There's always going to be those teams that do hold records like that, but Yeah, it is still quite concerning though, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it is. It is. But I think, credit to Collingwood's backline for being able to keep them to that. They're not, I think it was just good to see them stay strong, especially without, Jeremy Howe, who's probably the general back there, you'd think.
Yeah, and I think they get Sidebottom back this week. I believe his suspension's over. So
Yeah.
so they're purring the Pies. That would have made more sense to say about Geelong.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you've lost your analogies there. But
We'll go to the votes for that game. So we gave 1 vote to Paddy Dangerfield, 2 votes to Adam Treloar, and 3 votes to Geordie De Goey.
Superstar.
Absolute superstar. All right. Well, I'll let you take over Friday night's game.
Yeah, so we had Essendon versus the Western Bulldogs at Metricon, another one that feels like an eternity ago. And geez, the Dogs bounced back in a big way, didn't they?
They were very good. The Bombers looked average.
Yeah.
Very, very average. They're missing a couple of their superstars, but to get dominated like they did was pretty concerning given their form recently.
Yeah, exactly. It is disappointing, especially because, you go back a couple of weeks ago and, the limits this year for them were endless. They were looking really good. And then to have a game like this just sort of throws it all in the bin a little bit, doesn't it?
It does. But as I said last week, I knew the Dogs would bounce back after what they did. They were a better team than what they were the week before. And I guess this game makes Carlton look pretty good, doesn't it? So, but no, they looked very impressive. Tim English is an absolute superstar ruckman.
Oh,
he's only 22 years old.
So give him a couple of years and
he's doing some crazy things. So they've definitely got a ruckman there for the next decade. But yeah, that was very impressive from the Dogs. And in the votes, we gave 1 vote to Jack McRae, 2 votes to Lockie Hunter, and 3 votes to Timmy English. All right, so Saturday's games, we had GWS and Brisbane at Giant Stadium. Brisbane winning away from the Gabba, which is a good sign for them.
Well, we did talk a lot about them not being able to do so, and they proved us wrong.
Yep, they look very good. And they are into flag favouritism after that game too.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think officially on
Sportsbet.
Yeah,
well, that means it is official.
Yeah,
well, and especially considering all the rest of the season, they're most likely going to be in Queensland.
Yeah,
apart from a couple of games I travel, but
especially if the finals and possibly the grand final are at the Gabba. That swings it into Brisbane's favour, doesn't it? Massively. So, just the way they played, and even Lachie Neale was kept relatively quiet for Lachie Neale standards by Matt de Boer, and the Lions still played really, really well without him. So, yeah, they did. And on the other end of that, the Giants looked a bit, a few issues there, I reckon. They're 3-5, and who knows how much longer their window is left open to win a premiership.
Well, windows don't last very long.
No, they don't.
A lot of clubs have found that out the hard way. So, yeah, I don't know. It's good to see. We'll have to see how they bounce back after this. But like you said, 3-5 at the moment. It's not a great record for a club that was almost going in premiership favourites at the beginning of the year before anything started.
Yeah,
so
they were. They might. I think they definitely still have scars from the grand final. For sure.
Richmond have that effect on clubs. First Adelaide, now the Giants. So.
They do. All right, the votes for that game, we gave 1 vote to Stephen Canelio, who has definitely bounced back since copying that criticism the other week. 2 votes to Dane Zorko, and 3 votes to Zach Bailey. The other game on the Saturday was between Sydney and Gold Coast at the SCG. This was a very entertaining game, this one, I found. It was two very... Sydney not usually attacking, but they actually played much better this week.
It was a lot more better. It was a lot better to watch them than previous rounds. That's for sure.
They did, yeah. But the Suns were very impressive. I was, how at the start of the season I said, let's give them a 6 to 8 week block.
Yeah.
I think I've seen it now.
Have they passed?
I think so.
Passed the test?
I think so. They're playing really well and super consistent too.
Yeah, it's very. Even the games have lost.
They've been in them.
They haven't been blown out of the water. They've been in the games they've lost, which is encouraging. So, no, definitely. And you'd think there'd be a good chance to play finals if they keep it up.
I think so. No one's ready to lock them in for finals just because it's Gold Coast.
Well, no one's ready to lock almost anybody in the way the season's going. True. So,
but everyone's still skeptical around them, just given their reputation. But
yeah,
I think who have they got this week? Let me have a look quickly. Bulldogs. That's right. They got the primetime game. They've got the primetime game this week.
And about time too, I reckon.
Yeah. I think if they can get that one, then we can take them seriously. But But for me, they've been very impressive, and they haven't put a foot wrong yet, which has been really good. Hugh Greenwood's been an incredibly good pickup for them.
Oh, he's been unreal, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's arguably been their best player this season, behind Matty Rowell, of course. But I think he's going to overtake him come season.
I was going to say, the man hasn't played in a couple of weeks and we're still tooting his on.
And Isaac Rankin backed up his debut game.
Oh, oofed.
Kicking a couple of great snags. So, yeah, but it was a really entertaining game. Like, Sydney were pretty close in the last quarter, but Gold Coast kicked the last couple of goals to edge it out by 30 points. But the votes for that game, we gave 1 vote to David Swallow, 2 votes to Luke Parker, and 3 votes to Hugh Greenwood. All right, Richmond North, the other game on the Saturday night.
Oh yeah, and I don't know. I mean, obviously, I was very happy with this one. I think Richmond, we showed glimpses of the old Richmond, I guess, from the last couple of years with a lot of pressure and fast moving footy and all the rest of it. But I was really happy to see with a lot of players not in, also a lot of premiership players not playing, a lot of our depth was showing that they could get the job done.
Yep, very impressive. What's his name?
Derek Egg Smith.
Egg Smith.
I call him the Eggman.
Jeez, he's got a nice kick on him, doesn't he?
Oh, he does.
Yeah.
He really does. It's only his 4th game and he got best on ground.
He's a really smooth mover.
Oh, extremely. I mean, contentious maybe that he got best on ground considering Sean Higgins had 36 disposals, but in a losing side. So
yeah.
But yeah, no, I thought he had a great game and just really, and like I said, another one that shows, our second tier players, if you want to call them that, can still step up and get the job done. Mind you, North aren't exactly the way they're playing at the moment, they're not really a big threat, I guess you can say. They've got some worries down there.
You've kept them to 2 goals, which is shocking for a North Melbourne perspective.
Oh, definitely. Well, I mean, Ben Brown had 3 shots on goal and he's probably, I'd consider him almost the best set shot in the league. It's just usually very accurate and he just couldn't find, the big sticks either. So, yeah, definitely some concerning signs at North.
Well, there was talk this week about Ben Brown moving clubs. Well, there's been a lot of interest about him.
Well, yeah,
going
maybe.
Elsewhere.
What's a classic fresh start scenario, isn't it? You think you get a fresh start and...
I mean, he's had a very good career until this season. Like, it's not like does he desperately need a fresh start? Like, he's had a couple of bad games.
I don't think so. I think people are probably looking into it a bit much.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a superstar, really.
Yeah.
I mean, he's such a good kick on goal, good mark normally. He's just, in a bit of a form slump at the moment. And
yeah.
I don't think it'll take too long for him to pick that back up.
I think so. Yeah, he's too good of a player to go too long without good kicking a goal.
Oh, yeah, and I feel like North really can't afford to let him go.
No.
They struggle to get other players in already at the moment. Obviously some notable names have missed out in the last few years, but they wouldn't want to let Ben Brown go. So obviously North won't be too stoked with their performance on the weekend, and nor their fans. And speaking of their fans, I've got a diehard North supporter on the line now that I think has a few words to say about his club's performance over recent weeks. G'day, Hugh. How you going, mate?
G'day, very well, thanks. Yourself?
Oh, can't complain. Pretty happy after Richmond got up over North on the weekend. Did you manage to catch any of it?
Yes, unfortunately I did. I sat myself down on the couch and watched the whole game, and it was a rough viewing.
I remember at one point you texted me and you were pretty filthy. You said you can't believe you thought you were going to be good this year, and you turned to hard liquor.
I did turn to the liquor cabinet at halftime, that's for sure. I had to get through the game somehow. But we started the season well and everyone was up and about, and then it's gone downhill very, very quickly.
So what do you think's gone wrong at North?
Well, the ball movement is horrendous. It's so bad, honestly. It's like watching Melbourne back in their heyday play. The injuries obviously don't help. Cunnington, Larkey, Zeeble, pretty important players, but just the ball movement's been awful. And a lot of our kind of middle-range players are having horrendous seasons as well, which obviously doesn't help.
Yeah, I feel like definitely your middle class sort of players need to be on fire as well as your stars to have a successful team. Obviously Zerha was a laid out as well, the new young superstar down at North.
Yeah, no, unfortunately he was a laid out, as you said, which doesn't help. His physicalities are very important, and having that out was a pretty big hit, particularly with Anderson out too, who's the other one who's pretty physical and hard at it.
Yeah, definitely. Now you got We noticed Ben Brown hasn't exactly been kicking straight, considering he's one of the best set shots in the league. What do you reckon's gone wrong with Ben Brown? You reckon he needs some new boots, or?
Yeah, his confidence is just absolutely shot. I think his run up used to be kind of what made him such a good kick, but now I reckon him got the Dennis Lewis style run up. I reckon he's got more time to think about missing it. To be honest,
Yeah.
he's having a mare.
I'm gonna say he's almost got a full quarter of footy the way his run up is. It's that long to think about his kick. So.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's obviously not getting many touches a game, and when he does, he's shanking them. So,
Right, you definitely need him back in form for you guys to sort of, turn the season around. I guess you could say. Now you've obviously got Carlton coming up this week, and I mentioned before the phone call that your old man's a Carlton supporter. What's the beef looking like in the family for this weekend?
yeah, look, Dad's in uncharted territory because Carlton are favourites. He doesn't really know what to do with himself. Generally, it's me with all the trash talking leading up to the game, but he's been pretty chirpy this week.
Oh, I bet he
started going on about how they've got the better Mackay. So,
Well, that's an easy argument, that one.
actually, it'll be an interesting Mackay versus Mackay because I think those two have been known to trash talk each other a bit. So, could be a bit of verbals on the field.
Nah, it should be good, and I feel your pain. I've got some Carlton supporters that won't shut up around me at the moment as well, so I feel your pain, Hugh.
I'm not confident at all.
Yeah, Marcus actually said just before we rang you that he reckons he was going to put a couple of hundred on North to win.
I'm not. It's just Carlton being favourites. It doesn't sit well with me.
Not at all, no. It's a very Carlton thing to do to lose by 10 goals. to a depleted North, we've lost 5 in a row.
Right, you're due for a win.
Exactly right. We are due for a win, although if we play anything like we have the last 5 weeks, we won't get close, I don't think, unfortunately.
Wow. It's all, I guess you'll have to wait and see, I guess. But do you reckon when you get a few players back, you guys can turn it around, or do you think you're destined to sit lower on the ladder?
No, I don't think we're anywhere near second bottom side. Once we've got guys like Cunnington, Larkey, Zerha, Zeeble back, I think we will win a few games, particularly playing, I think we're meant to play 4 down in Hobart where we have some kind of unbelievable record. So I think we will pick up and win a few games, which is almost worse. In our position, looking at a rebuild, you'd probably rather kind of finish second bottom than win a few and end up finishing, 13th or 12th or something. But obviously you want to see your team win. So, yeah, I think we will win a few.
Yeah, fair enough. And just lastly as well, we got obviously 20 days of footy coming up in a row. How do you reckon that suits the Kangas with, obviously you said a bit of a depleted side at the moment, a lot of younger guys. Do you reckon this suits the quick turnarounds or...?
I actually don't know, to be honest. Obviously, I think there's been a bit in the media regarding our pretty poor injury management. So I'm not too sure. We've had a lot of kind of soft tissue injuries over the last couple of years, and we do have a few older guys with Goldie, Higgins, Tarrant. Who else have we got? Jasper Pittard, McMillan are all 29, 30. So if a few of those guys go down again, then we're in some trouble. But hopefully with a lot of the young guys, they're pretty fit and they should be all right to get through.
Well, I'm keeping my fingers crossed for North. I mean, I was glad to see them lose over the weekend to the Mighty Tigers, but hopefully they can turn their season around and, pick up from what was a great start to the season, so hopefully they can continue that early form and, like you said, finish a little bit higher up in the ladder than second last, so...
Yeah, he's hoping that we do show something at least, because the last 5-6 weeks we've been, as I said, we've been awful.
Yeah, well, anyway, hopefully you can turn it around, but... Anyway, Hugh, I appreciate you jumping on and having a chat to us. It's always good to get someone on and other than us to talk about a different team than Richmond and Carlton for once. So it's good to have you on.
Yeah, no, thanks very much for having me. My pleasure.
All right, mate. I'll speak to you soon.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, mate.
See you, mate.
See ya. We'll go to the votes for that game. So we gave 1 vote to Jake Arts, he's doing all right, isn't he?
Well, I'll tell you what, he almost didn't want to kick his first goal of his AFL career. He had 3 shots on goal that he all missed before he kicked his... he kicked 2 in the end, but before, it took him a while to get on the board, but he's all right. I'm liking Jake Arts. His pressure has been unreal.
Yeah, he's done well since coming in. Yeah, he's done really well.
Yeah, extremely.
Yeah. 2 votes to Sean Higgins and 3 votes to the Egg Malisi Smith.
The Eggman.
What a name. Love it. All right, so Sunday we had Carlton and Port Adelaide at the Gabba.
Are you going to cry talking about this one, or should I take over?
I'll be strong for this. Look, it was one of the games of the season. It was a really, really good contest. It was ferocious. It was incredibly contested. Both teams had a red hot crack, which is a real positive. Being a Carlton supporter, to say that we matched it with arguably the best team in the comp at the moment.
We're top of the ladder.
Yeah.
For a reason. So
I think the Blues were very unlucky not to win the game for obvious reasons. With Robbie Gray kicking one of the goals of the season from 50 out after the siren. It's as clutch as it gets.
on the
isn't it?
boundary line.
You can't even be you can't even be upset with that kick because it was such a good kick in the moment. Like it was unbelievable.
And leading up to that kick, it looked like Port Adelaide were almost trying to lose the game.
Yeah.
How many shots on goal?
Oh,
did
they
have?
missed about 4 shots.
And
in front
all
of goal.
easy shots.
Yeah,
and then
definitely.
Robbie Gray finishes with that. It's unbelievable. But
Yeah, so there's an argument to say that Port probably should have been in front already, but then Carlton also missed a few opportunities in the last quarter too. So it definitely could have gone either way. Carlton, doesn't lose any fans from that game. They were very impressive, and I mean, if Robbie Gray doesn't kick that goal, people are probably talking about Carlton definitely playing finals this season.
well, yeah, exactly right. I mean, literally one kick changed the conversation of the week for the Blues and Port.
So, look, there's no shame in that as a Carlton supporter, but geez, it was heartbreaking to lose in that way. That's for sure.
I mean, you hate the term honourable loss, but I mean, this is almost one of them.
Yeah, I know. Anyway,
Sorry to mention the honourable loss.
what I do want to mention from that game though is Sam Walsh. His courageous mark for me. I don't want to sound too biased, but I think that's going to be
You biased?
one of the marks of the season. That is.
Just the courage you have to put your body on the line like that.
Just to get in front of Charlie Dixon, who weighs about 1,000 kilos.
Oh, he's a small
He's
guy.
the most intimidating player in the game. And to back into that pack and mark that was incredible. I thought.
Yeah. Do you reckon he silenced a few critics after
Definitely.
a slower start to the season?
I hope Kane Corns is watching that game.
I hope he's listening to this.
I hope he's listening to this. I'm sure he is.
And if you are, make sure you spread the word a little bit for us, would you?
Shout out to Kane Corns. We'll go to the votes for that game. Okay, 1 vote to Jacob Wiedering, just continuing his great season. 2 votes to Sam Walsh, and 3 votes to Charlie Dixon, who was just dominant on that game. Hawthorn Melbourne. This one, Hawthorn. Jesus.
Jeez, Hawthorn, a bit of a...
Yeah, absolutely. That sums him up very well, doesn't it?
Oh, I want to know what's happened to them. Only go back, 3 or 4 weeks ago, and, they were a finals looking side.
Yeah, well, they smashed Richmond in round 2, didn't they? Or round 3, yeah.
Round 3,
Yeah.
yeah.
Then everyone was,
Jumping on the band.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, definitely. And then compared to that game to now, losing to Melbourne, convincingly.
Yeah.
But says a lot about how
on the
they're
other
looking.
side of that, everyone, Melbourne are getting pretty pumped up after that win too.
Oh,
So,
100%.
yeah.
100%.
I think that was their best game since 2018.
Yeah.
Melbourne,
Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
For sure. They've got a lot for D's to be excited about for this game. It's now just keeping that consistency and trying to do a week in, week out, which they haven't been able to do.
Yeah, for sure. Christian Petrarca looks like he's definitely elevated his game to the next level this season.
Oh, he's put it together, every week, which has been a problem in the past. But, yeah, I mean, there's big talk about him this week, definitely.
There was, as Shane Crawford came out and said he's better than Dustin Martin. He's the best bull in the competition, which I don't agree with. Not yet, anyway. I mean, he has the potential to be, but, this is his first real consistent high-level season that he's put together.
Yeah, I want to see a lot more from Christian
Yeah.
Petrarca, but I still think he's a gun.
Oh,
I know you're not saying he's not, but yeah, he's still a star. I reckon.
His upside is enormous, but to compare him with Dustin Martin and players like that, I think it's too early. He needs to put a couple of good seasons together. Like he's always throughout his career so far, he's bobbed up and played amazing football, but then he'd go missing for 5 to 6 weeks. So now he looks like he's being consistent and playing at a sustained level. So, in 2-3 years' time, if he's still playing like this, then we can have that conversation that he's better than Dusty and players like that. So.
Oh, exactly right. Another one that played really well and who's been probably quiet lately was Clayton Oliver.
Yeah.
He popped up again too, which is good to see because, if Melbourne want to win games, they need both of those guys especially to be on fire, and they both were on the weekend.
Well, in 2018 when they were a good side, they had Clayton Oliver, Max Gawn, all those sort of players just dominating every week. So, and they appear to be doing that at the moment, and that's why they're getting the wins. Mm-hmm. So, but the votes for that game, we gave 1 vote to Clayton Oliver, 2 votes to Max Gawn, and 3 votes to the track. All right. Freo and West Coast, the Derby.
Or the Derby.
The Derby?
How are we
Derby
saying
or
it? Derby,
Derby?
Derby.
Is Derby?
We
It's
had this
Derby.
question
That's
last
right.
week. We'll say Derby, they say Derby. Potato, potato.
It was I watched the first half of this game and it was actually really good. I think having a good crowd there helped.
Oh, 100%. It was the biggest crowd of the year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. So I think they just under 30,000. It was good. West Coast looked like they're semi-back to what they were. But
Yeah.
I'm not fully convinced yet. But being back at home helps them a lot.
Oh, 100%. But they did win a couple of games to finish off
They did.
in Queensland too. And, I mean, as we've said before, no club really looks, as dominant as they were in previous seasons. So, I mean, I think West Coast, you could consider them to be back, yeah.
Yeah. And another person who's back is Josh Kennedy.
Ooh.
4 goals. And
I love watching Josh Kennedy play.
he's a great forward.
He is superstar forward. I love watching him, and he's just got such a nice kick on him, doesn't he?
He does. He's he could have kicked 8. He kicked 4 goals, 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was very dominant, and when Josh Kennedy's up and about, usually the Eagles win. And I think he took home the best on ground medal as well. So he's hitting some form, and the Eagles, that puts him into the 8. I mean, I can't see them dropping out of the 8 now that they've got all these home games coming up.
No, you wouldn't have thought so. You wouldn't have thought so. And the Eagles made me look pretty silly after last week. I was so convinced Freo would get the win.
That's right, you were too.
I don't know. I just had this feeling. Obviously, it wasn't true, but the Eagles made me look silly. But I don't see them popping out of the 8 either now. Not with the string of home games they've got.
Nah, can't see that happening. But we'll go to the votes. So we've got 1 vote to Tim Kelly, 2 votes to Brad Shepherd, who's putting together a really nice season, and 3 votes to Josh Kennedy. The game on the Monday. So Monday night footy was back. It was Adelaide and St Kilda. Interesting game to put on a Monday night, but it actually wasn't too bad.
No, it worked out all right, and we questioned the fixture choice in the last episode, but the game turned out to be pretty good to watch. I actually enjoyed it. And Adelaide, I think, for almost the first game this year, didn't look terrible.
No, they actually didn't.
I actually didn't mind watching them play. I mean, Tex Walker, I'm not a big Tex Walker advocate, but he played really well, and all of, Adelaide's decent players all sort of lifted this week, and I thought it showed.
Does being back at home help them?
I think so. I think it helps.
Yeah.
They're probably obviously a bit more comfortable down there, but I mean, they still didn't get the win in the end. So
They had a good crowd too.
They
were pretty fiery.
Yeah,
it was good to see.
Adelaide supporters are,
Yeah.
but that's what you want though. We
Yeah.
want that sort of passion back in the game because we've missed it for how many
Yeah.
weeks now. I don't know. I'm obviously not convinced Adelaide. I still, as we said last episode, I still don't see them really winning a game. But
Nah,
not the way they're playing. But I mean, this was good signs for them.
I feel like though if they're going to pinch a win this season, it's going to come at home.
Yeah, if it's going to come
Yeah.
anywhere, it's going to be
Yeah.
at home for sure. But I mean, I don't think we should, dismiss the Saints. I thought the Saints still played pretty well. I thought they probably should have won by more, but they had their opportunities.
Well, they were challenged and they did well to kick away from him towards the end.
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly right.
Jack Steele's playing some unbelievable footy.
Oh, he's another one. I know we've said the word superstar a lot today, but he's definitely,
Well,
he's up there.
He's definitely having his best season so far, and I think he's definitely a smoky for the All Australian. I know no one said him last week, but I think after his performance on Monday night, I think he's going to be right up in the conversation.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I think he's put 3 to 4 games in a row now where he's just been best on ground. So he's doing really well. And it's good to see. The Saints, and they're really sharing the load as well. They had 8 different goal scorers. Dan Butler's playing well again.
And another one, 3
See what
goals.
fresh starts do.
Oh, fresh starts, I'm telling you, it's all about the fresh starts at the moment. So, Dan Butler, I mean, he's been doing, he's up there in the Coleman. I think, at the moment. So,
and he's another one for an All-Australian spot too, as a forward pocket.
Well, as a forward pocket,
Yeah.
you'd think him and Papley at the moment would be the two
Yeah.
you'd be looking at for sure. So I think it was good, and obviously the Saints would be happy. They haven't been able to win down in Adelaide in their last 11 attempts, so good to see them, change that stat around.
Definitely. The votes for that game, we go 1 vote to Tex Walker, 2 votes to Dan Butler, and 3 votes to Jack Steele. All right, so that is round 7 done and dusted. But for this episode, obviously what we said last week, we're combining the two together. So we'll also be previewing round 8, which starts on Thursday night. We've got, as we mentioned before, Gold Coast in their first ever primetime slot.
I think this is well deserved after the
It's
season they're
exciting.
having. And people are enjoying to watch Gold Coast this year, which I never thought I'd hear anybody say.
Some people are saying they're the sexiest team to watch at the moment.
Oh, any bets that was Bruce McAvaney that said the word sexy.
I think it was Bruce McAvaney.
Yeah. Sexy, delicious,
Yeah.
succulent.
All of the above.
Yeah, all the above. But he's not wrong. And they are sexy to watch this year.
They are. They're very good. I mean, I feel like every episode we're just pumping up the Gold Coast Suns. It's great.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Well, we never
With
been
or
able to-
without Real.
Yeah, with or without. We still find a way to drop his name in the conversation, though, don't we?
It's great. But they do take on a Bulldogs team that had a great win last week. And yeah, as we said before, I think if the Suns win, I think they will definitely play finals.
Oh, you'd have to think so.
Yeah.
You'd have to think so for sure.
Yeah.
But in saying that as well, if the Dogs lose, what does that say about...
Yeah, then the Dogs are just going to be that inconsistent team, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, they need to win games like this to be taken seriously as a premiership threat. I'm going to tip the Dogs, just because of what they did last week, and I don't know. I feel bad not tipping Gold Coast, but I feel like the Dogs will win this one.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, for me, like we said, they've so far been a little inconsistent, the Dogs. It just depends which team decides to come out and play. But yeah, I think I'm going to have to go the Dogs as well.
Yeah. Friday night football. It's GWS up against the Tigers at Giant Stadium.
This is a big game for both sides, I think. I mean,
Grand final replay.
Grand final replay, definitely. And I think the Giants are in need of a win against a side that's probably sitting in the top four to really for anyone to take them seriously.
Yeah.
But I mean, Richmond are missing, 4 or 5 premiership players at the moment. You think the Giants would be able to capitalise on that?
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
I just haven't seen enough from the Giants this season to suggest that they can beat Richmond. I mean, like, you guys still played very good football last week.
Yeah,
But you did play against North.
But
So you still were good enough to smash them by 10 goals.
Yeah, which in saying that is, an
still a pretty good
achievement in
win.
itself. Yeah, definitely. Well, look, I mean, as per usual, I'm still going to tip Richmond.
Yeah.
I think our depth has been pretty good, and hopefully we give Giants a few grand final hoodoos. So
That's what I mean. Like, are they going to, is that PTSD going to come back to the Giants when they see all the Richmond players run out?
oh, I'd love it to. But I do think in saying that, some of Richmond's big guns really need to have like a big game in lift. I mean, Rewalt played all right on the weekend, but I think players, like himself, Lynch, Cochin's a chance. Dustin Martin needs to have those guys need to start playing some really good footy, I think, again, because at the moment our young guys are the ones that are having the best games.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Which is good.
Yeah.
I love to see that, but I mean, imagine take it back to that next level if our stars start playing as good as well as those younger guys. So I'm still going to tip Richmond because, like I said, Giants have been a bit inconsistent. Richmond seem to have found a bit of form again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any update on Dion Prestia?
I know they were flying him into Queensland.
Yeah.
But when it found out we were going to be there an extended period of time, no word on when he'll be back though.
Okay.
But
so
I know
that's
another guy that could be in, and then you've got you got Dave Asprey, who's also a potential in this week.
Yeah.
I know he was a chance last week, I think. So it'd be good to see him back, another premiership defender. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the Tigers will win as well, and I think that will rule out the Giants from playing in the top 4.
Yeah.
Or finishing in the top 4 this season, I feel. So, yeah, Richmond win for both of us. Saturday afternoon footy, North Melbourne versus Carlton. I was saying off air before that I'm probably not going to watch this game, simply because Carlton are favourites, and I don't like it when Carlton are favourites, because if we lose to North Melbourne, that undoes everything we've done over the last few weeks. And to be honest, I'm fucking shit scared. I am.
Yeah, look, it's I guess like we were saying with, you don't, but like I said last episode, you don't want to be that team that loses to Adelaide. You're in a similar boat right now. You don't want to be that team that loses to North at the moment. Not the way they're playing,
The players that
where
they've
they're
got
sitting
out
on the
as
ladder,
well.
the way you guys have been playing. It all makes it very difficult if you guys lose to North this week.
If we genuinely turn the corner, we need to be winning comfortably against teams like North.
Oh,
We have to.
yeah, for sure. You need to have you don't want to beat them by 5 points.
No.
You want to beat them by 40 plus.
Yeah, so we need to win comfortably if we're going to be taken seriously as a football club. But in saying that, North have lost 5 in a row, so they're due. They're absolutely due.
Oh, yeah.
But they have got a lot of players out. I mean, Zeeble looks like he's going to miss. Ben Cunnington's still out. I think Zerha was a laid out last week, so who knows if he's going to get up.
Could go either way with him, yeah.
So I think, the Blues need to win this. I mean, I'm more nervous for this game than I've been for any other game this season. Just simply because we're favourites, and that doesn't happen often.
Well, you should chuck a bit of money on North. That way, if you lose, it's not all bad.
Might chuck, a couple hundred on North to win.
Jeez,
just to cover myself.
That's excessive.
Maybe not that much.
I want your job.
No, I am going to tip the Blues.
Yeah, no, same thing. I can't see North beating Carlton. Not the form Carlton's in.
No. All right, Sydney and Hawthorn at the SCG. I think this is a great opportunity for Hawthorn to get back on the winners list. Sydney are playing like a bottom 4 team. Well, so are
Hawthorn, I guess. They're both struggling for a win.
They are. But I think, just with, Clarkson at the helm, I can't see them losing this one just because their backs against the wall this week. The players that Hawthorn have are better than what they're putting out there, I feel.
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. And, like you said, with Clarko as well, I mean, both coaches have sort of been in the spotlight at the moment for the way their teams have been playing, and you just imagine Clarko definitely responding, especially, as you said, against a side like Sydney, who are depleted at the moment, then don't have their full side out there, so it'd be really disappointing for Hawthorn not to capitalise and, get the win. Yeah,
I think they will. It's just, as I said before, Sydney did play well against Gold Coast last week, but I just think, backs against the wall. Hawthorn's, at least their midfield are good enough to get the job done against a very young Sydney team. So, I'm going to tip the Hawks.
Yeah, I'm going for the Hawks as well.
Saturday night, we've got Port Adelaide and St Kilda at Adelaide Oval. This game will be a beauty. Absolute beauty, this one.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this game. I think it'll be great.
Yeah.
Port back at Adelaide Oval.
They are, in front of their fans, and coming off that really good win last week with that Robbie Gray goal, I think they'll be full of confidence going into this one. They'll have their fans, but they are playing against St Kilda, who have been in pretty good form and did play at Adelaide Oval last week.
I can say they just came off a win at Adelaide Oval. Mind you, was against the Crows, but, still shows they can win there.
Yeah.
They know where they're playing. They're familiar with it, playing 2 weeks in a row there. So if the Saints come out and, with the good form they've shown, it'll be a very good game to watch.
It will be. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. I think this is going to be super close. I think if the Saints can get up, then we can really talk seriously about St Kilda being a real threat this season. And then in saying that, if Port Adelaide win this quite comfortably, then we can definitely say that they're going to be there or thereabouts come season's end. So I'm going to tip Port just because it's at home.
Yeah, I'm tipping Port as well. I think Port are probably a little bit better of a side than St Kilda.
I think, definitely.
Yeah, I'm going for Port as well, but it could go either way, the way they're both playing.
Sunday games, we've got Adelaide and Essendon at Adelaide Oval. Is this going to be Adelaide's first win?
I hope so.
I've been waiting to say that.
I can see you've been, steaming to get that one out. Nah, surely not. I know Essendon came off a poor game last week, but I can't see them having 2 games in a row like that.
Nah.
Not even with players out. That I can't see them losing to Adelaide. Sorry.
Nah. Can they? No, they can't. They can't. I think Essendon should win this, especially after last week's performance. They need to bounce back. I think this is the perfect opportunity for them to do that. If Adelaide can bring that intensity that they brought last week, then they can be within touching distance. But I think Essendon will be too strong. But in saying that, Essendon, over the last few years, these are the sort of games that they drop. And this is why they never make it far in the finals. And I'm not just saying that because of it's Essendon.
Your biased opinion on them.
This is not, and you ask every Essendon supporter, these are the sort of games that they drop. They have dropped in the past, and of what's hurt them.
Well, yeah, and exactly. And these are the games that can, be the difference between finishing 8th and 9th.
Yep.
Or, 4th and 5th, if you're trying to make top 4. So,
yep.
I don't see them losing it, but it also, won't surprise me if, next week we're talking about Essendon losing to Adelaide.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Nah, but I'm still tipping Essendon. I think they'll win quite comfortably.
Definitely. We've got West Coast and Collingwood at Optus Stadium later that day. It's a 2018 Grand Final replay. It's going to be an absolute beauty, this one.
Oh, you'd think
the,
so.
The Port Saints game was going to be good. This is going to be even better.
Well, this has to be game of the round, you'd think,
Yeah.
wouldn't you? I mean, the form West Coast is coming into. I mean, Collingwood's already in good form. They have been all year. Yeah, I'm very excited for this. I don't even know who to tip, to be honest. I think I don't know, great game all around.
Yeah.
Well, Collingwood's lack of ability to get a lot of score on the board hurt them against West Coast. They've kicked low scores.
I mean, yeah, well, DeGoey kicked 5 of them last week and he's not going to be there.
Yeah, well, exactly right. And, weeks before that, we've spoken about Collingwood struggling to get scores on the board. They've been able to stop teams from scoring, but themselves not as much. How do you reckon this is going to pan out?
I think they'll be fine. They're just they're in red hot form, so I think they'll be okay. It's just whether they can stop West Coast attack, because obviously West Coast have got a great forward line too. I think the winner of this game is going to be right up there. I mean, like if West Coast can beat Collingwood in the form that they're in, they're going to jump on West Coast, aren't they?
Yeah, everyone will be back on West Coast. But if Collingwood wins, then
I think they'll be probably flag favourites come end of the round.
they'd have to be. They would have to be. I think it'll be great to see, some of Collingwood's defenders, I mean, such as Darcy Moore and all that, stand up and see how they go against West Coast, big forward line.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to tip Collingwood. I'm
tipping Collingwood as well, and off topic, I think Brody Mychek as well. I don't know. I've got another feeling. I reckon he's going to have a pretty good game.
Well, he's had a great season.
Exactly right. Yeah. I feel like he'll, especially with DeGoey out this week. Not that he hasn't been out before, but I just feel like Mychek will have a big game.
Yeah, for sure. We've got Melbourne and Brisbane at Metricon on the Sunday night. Brisbane, well, on paper, this should be an easy Brisbane win.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's not going to be.
Well,
after what Melbourne put in last week.
Can Melbourne reproduce it though? That's the question. That's the underlying thing. If Melbourne can have 2 weeks in a row of the form they had last week, that'll be unreal game. I reckon it'll be very close. But Melbourne are also the type not to be consistent with their performances. So
yeah, exactly right. And it's their first week in the Queensland hub too for Melbourne. They've been playing in Sydney the last couple of weeks, so who knows? New environment, the travel, it might affect them. But yeah, I don't see them beating Brisbane in the form that Brisbane's in. So
no, nor do I. Do you think it helps that they're playing away from the Gabba though? I mean, I know they're still in Queensland, but Metricon and the Gabba are 2 different grounds.
Yeah, I don't.
It probably doesn't make a massive difference.
No,
does it?
I wouldn't have thought, because Melbourne. They're gonna. But like they're coming, or Melbourne are going to be coming from a hotel. Like it's the same. They're both getting buses there. Yeah, exactly. Melbourne have been there all week, so
knowing the AFL, they'll probably have to share a bus.
Probably, who knows? So, but yeah, I'll tip Brisbane for this one.
Yeah, and I'm going the Lions as well. They're too strong at the moment.
And Monday night footy is back again this week. So we've got Freo and Geelong from Optus Stadium. This will be an interesting game. I think the Cats they've got a few outs. They've got a lot of experience out, so it sort of levels it up a little bit. Well, I wouldn't say completely level, but
it doesn't completely
gives
level.
Freo a slight chance.
It gives them a sniff for sure. I mean, I think I saw a stat, and Geelong are missing up to about 1,400 games worth of experience in terms of the players they're missing this week. Huge. So that is massive. I mean, Freo definitely gives them a big sniff, but I don't know. I still think Geelong are probably too good.
Yeah. They should win.
Even playing at Optus, I still think Geelong should win this game.
They should win. I think Freo will be in the contest for a lot of it, but I still think Geelong will be too strong. Yeah. I think Freo in front of their home crowd. I think that'll keep them in it for a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, I feel like up until half time it'll probably be close, and then they're probably the more. Well, even with all those players out, I think they're probably still a bit more of an experienced side. Geelong will probably
for sure
kick away.
Yeah, and that is it. That is round 8. Preview done. Some very good games to look forward to there, in particular that game on the Sunday with West Coast and Collingwood. So another exciting round of footy ahead of us. But we'll move into the famous debate and the very popular spot on a way off that we've been producing lately. It's
been a great segment. It's been getting a lot of audience feedback.
It has. People have been loving it. So it's good. So I'll kick it off. I'll give you the first one here.
All right, here we go.
Christian Petrarca is better than Dustin Martin.
I was telling you before this that I have a non-biased opinion on this, and
no, you weren't.
No, I wasn't. Okay, I'm going to say
very biased of you. No,
I'm going to say way off, because I think if you put both of them at their best, Dustin Martin is still a lot, or not a lot better, but he's still better at their best. However, at the moment, I mean, it really seems like Dustin Martin only really plays his best footy when there's pressure or it's an important game of some sort. Because I don't know, these early games of the season, he's done good things, but he hasn't stood out as Dustin Martin's known to do, whereas Petrarca has. So, yeah, I don't know.
You're just going off a handful of games, though. Well, Dusty's had the career.
If you go by the career,
yeah.
and I'm just saying, at their best, like Dustin Martin. If Dustin Martin plays his best game, Christian Petrarca plays his best game, this week, Dusty is a better player. Yeah. So, I think way off. Dustin Martin's still Dustin Martin at the end of the day.
Well, I had this argument with Melbourne supporters the other day that, I told them that Christian Petrarca's played as many good games as the number on his back. And it's fair to say they didn't like that too much. But that's what I mean. He's just playing. He's playing at an elite level just this season. So he needs to just keep that up, and then we can start talking about him being in the dusty mold. So yeah.
No, I agree.
So I think that's way off as well.
All right, now I've got to my one. With the amount of upsets we've had this season, rule interpretation changes, etc., there will be no asterisks on this year's premiership, as it's probably even harder to win than a normal season.
100% spot on.
Spot on?
Yeah. I think this will be one of the greatest premierships a team can win.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? A lot of people, I mean, it's easy to say when your team's not playing well as well. I know there's an asterisk on this year, but
why is it an asterisk?
Well, because it's shortened seasons, shortened games. No one's playing. We're all doing hubs. If you're a Victorian team, you're not getting.
Doesn't this highlight how good your team is if they can get through this and win a flag?
No, exactly right. A lot of the people I feel that have said that there is an asterisk, the teams that aren't performing. So
the ones down the bottom.
The ones down the bottom that are going, don't worry about this season, it's a write-off. But no, I think, I'm saying it's spot on. I reckon
all the challenges happening this season, if you can come out and win the flag, that means more than, I think, all the other ones.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because the team that can adapt to all these changes and get through all these, weird times, I don't see any asterisks with it, to be honest. So 100% spot on.
Hey.
All right. Hawthorn need to go into a proper rebuild and start again. Spot on.
Just like I said, they've been inconsistent this year. They haven't really, shown signs. They've shown really good signs, but just not every week. So and they've got a lot of young players as well at the moment. I think they should definitely go through a rebuild, and even if that's not with Clarko, whatever. But I think they should be rebuilding and starting from scratch. They've had their time in the sun. I think it's definitely time to rebuild and start again.
I think they need to accept the fact that they need to go through it. They haven't. They've tried to avoid it. Yeah.
They've done everything they can or not. So.
I think now's the time, and maybe Clarko isn't the man to take them through a rebuild, but they've got Sam Mitchell there waiting in the wings to take over, and I think a young coach like him could lead him through it, and then who knows, Clarko might go to a team that's ready to win a flag. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, but no, definitely spot on.
Yeah,
definitely spot on. Now, this one is a bit of an interesting one. Robbie Gray is spookier to Carlton supporters than a monster under the bed is for a 4 or 5-year-old.
Oh, is that why you took it off the run sheet? No, because I feel like if any other player kicked that goal, that would be spot on. But Robbie Gray is an out-and-out superstar of the game. Arguably he could be Port Adelaide's greatest ever player by the time he finishes.
He's in the conversation already.
So for me, you just got to appreciate the player that he is.
Yeah.
If Connor Rosie did that, then I'd be bloody wanting to punch him. But
Robbie Gray is Robbie Gray.
Yeah, you got to respect Robbie Gray. It's hard to be upset with that.
Yeah, even I'm saying way off for my own topic. So way off.
Way off.
I'm just looking at it as if David Mundy for kicking 2 goals after the siren beat the Tigers. He still gives me the heebie-jeebies. So I was wondering if I was alone, but obviously I am with that one. So way off.
Oh, that's brilliant. And that wraps up our debate for the week. Feel free to give us some feedback on that. Let us know if there's any things you want us to read out, and we'd be more than happy to debate them. But that is a wrap though for this episode. It's been long. It's been good. We've had to combine everything together. It looks like with the way the fixture's been played out, we're going to have to probably do this from now on, aren't we?
Yeah, well, with the 20 games straight coming up as well, it's going to be tough, but oof, footy always finds a way, and so does the Pressure Point podcast.
Exactly right. Everyone's adapting to things in life now. We're just going to have to do the same. So stay tuned. We'll definitely keep you guys updated on when we're going to record and put the episodes out. It's just, it just depends on when it can fit in perfectly. But yeah, from July 29, there's going to be a game every day. So we'll work something out. But as we say every week, just make sure you leave us a review and subscribe to us on YouTube. It's greatly appreciated. And every week we say it, we keep seeing more reviews come in, but the more the merrier. Any honest feedback that you guys have got for us will be fantastic and much appreciated. And have a good weekend, and we hope your team wins. Go Bills.
Pressure point! Pressure point! Pressure point! Pressure point! Pressure point!